And Night Terrors The Flash is written by Alex Packnadel, with art by Daniel Bayliss, colors by Igor Monti, and letters by Simon Boland. And the story begins with Barry Allen investigating a crime scene when he gets a call that Wally has been severely injured in a fight with Gorilla Grodd. Barry rushes over to the hospital, where a weakened Wally tells his mentor that there was something in the Speed Force that slowed him down. Barry heads out to get to the bottom of the situation as he heads to Iron Heights in order to confront Gorilla Grodd. It's there Grodd confesses that he knows as little as Barry does, and jocks up the impaling of Wally to a happy accident. This sends Barry into a rampage as he mercilessly beats Grodd before being escorted out, in which Grodd lets Barry know that someone is watching. After returning to the hospital, Barry is told that not even Dr. Fate is able to fix Wally, and so he decides to try and change Wally's fate. Thus, he heads to the Watchtower, where he meets up with a ghoulish-looking Hal Jordan, who creates a cosmic treadmill construct that allows Barry to go back in time. Once there, Barry can feel something ripping and tearing at him as he struggles to stay in that timeline. Knowing he doesn't have much time, Barry quickly finds Wally and Grodd, but is still too late to prevent the stabbing. It's then that the Speed Force begins pulling him back, that he sees Wally's monster and gives chase. And it's okay. Not really what I'd call a horror story, though. I mean, I understand that Wally's injury and potential death could still be a nightmare scenario for Barry Allen, but still, I kind of expected more. Because when dealing with the concept of nightmares, this opens up the story to various kinds of possibilities. Some of those possibilities actually carried out in some of the other Night Terror tie-ins. I mean, you could have Barry being kid again, reliving his mother's death in like a more dramatic and nightmare-fueled fashion. You could have a reimagined Thawne come in as like a speed monster that chases Barry throughout the recesses of his dreams. I mean, you could even start the story with Wally being dead, which sends Barry down into this sort of, spiral as he's trying to figure out why, what happened, and just have the book get more and more and more crazy as it goes along. Because even though this book tries to play with some of the more surreal aspects of what it's like to be in a dream, like with the more ghoulish design of Hal Jordan or Barry's lapse of memory with Warden Wolf, I don't think these aspects are played up enough, and they don't quite land as is. I mean, just as an example for the story as is, you could have sequences where Barry is sort of like hopping from location to location, and then after a while he's just sort of like, wait a second, how am I jumping to all of these points? How did I get here? Or reliving past sequences, sort of like with Wally, but Barry's like questioning of like, wait, no second, my memory's clear, this isn't how it happened. Which is what tips him off to him saying, wait, something's not right here, I need to figure out what's going on. Because when I think night terrors, i.e. nightmare and the human brain and whatnot, I just keep thinking that this could have been an interesting look into Barry's psyche. And while one could kind of argue that it sort of is, I still think it leaves a lot to be desired. It's like the book is touching on these different aspects, but doesn't fully delve into them. Because as it stands, we just get Wally is hurt, he seems to be dying, Barry tries to go find out like what happened, how to save him, and then there's a monster in the Speed Force. And it just reads more like a typical Flash story rather than a nightmare type scenario, which has kind of been my experience with these tie-ins so far, in which they're not really bad, but they're not great either. Just some side stories of, hey, this is what's going on with this character at this moment. Are they all important and necessary to read? No, not really. And I think most of the high points in this issue will primarily go to the art, because there are a lot of interesting panels in this comic. Like the one where right after Barry gets done just beating Grodd senseless, like that moment where he's just looking at his hands all bloody, thinking to himself, what did I do? You see the shock on his face. I mean, you really don't even, need the dialogue there. The look just says it all. I also thought Hal's design was a little creepy, but I just wish he was maybe in it a little bit more, or they had done more with his character in that moment. Like, I'm just imagining the scenario where Wally gets to the Watchtower and Hal attacks him and is thinking to himself, God, it's like, Hal, what happened to you? And, it's just like, again, that nightmare scenario where one of your friends is trying to kill you. He's just this skinless, grotesque monster, especially with the Green Lantern ring. Like, I feel like it was a completely missed opportunity. Lastly, that image where Barry's being, sort of stretched out as the Speed Force is trying to pull him back through. I thought that was a pretty cool panel. It's a good visual and it's good colors. So all in all, it's an okay read with some decent art. It doesn't quite hit the high points that I think it's capable of doing, but it is something to read Flash related while we wait for September for Icebreaker's run to start. And with that, I'm going to score Night Terrors The Flash, issue number 1, a 6.5 out of 10. So Night Terrors The Flash, issue number 1. What did you think about this book if you've read it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below.
And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.